at the suggestion of a friend, I said, I'm going to become a ref. All right. So I call, I couldn't find, there was no computers and no Google. So I couldn't find
Right.
WWF, but I did find Capital Wrestling. I call him 24 times. Nobody answers. Finally, on the 25th time, either Tootsmont or somebody answered and said, yeah. I said, is this WWF? Who wants to know? I said, this is Dave Dwinell. What do you want? I still want to be a ref. And he made Marlon Brando and The Godfather sound like a choir girl. And I'm going, I'd like to be a referee. And he goes, we have enough. I said, can I send you a resume? Don't send me any gifts, kids. The answer is no. I said, well, that went well. You hang up. I said, well, good. That went well, didn't it? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to find out where they're located. Okay. I'm going to go to their office because I'm a man on a mission. So I find out they have an office in Midtown, New York, and I'm at the Trade Center. So every lunchtime for 3 weeks, I went up and I stood outside. It was the Holland Hotel. I stood outside the Holland Hotel looking for someone from the WWF. At the time, it was WWF. Well, after about 3 weeks, the fellow who managed the front door, the guy at the front door, the doorsman, comes out and he goes, listen, he goes, are you a cop? Are you a Secret Service? Are you a private eye? Are you a stalker or are you just a nut? He goes, I see you here every day looking at the people coming in, going out. What's the deal? I said, I'm looking for the WWF people. You know, they're here once a month for a couple nights. It was like a sham office. And if you come back tomorrow, I'll have you arrested for stalking. They don't want to talk to you. I said, well, thank you. So I said, well, I gave it the old college try. And then I met a guy. I was the MC at our 100th anniversary for the church. They wanted me to be the MC. So, all right. I met a guy who knew boxing and wrestling in New York. He had been connected with boxing, and I found out that, pardon me for dripping a little bit, sorry. And he said, come over to my office tomorrow. So I went to his office. I drove up and down the avenue in Westchester near where I worked. And all of a sudden, I see a hot dog truck. He sells hot dogs, but he knew everybody and everything. Very wise, streetwise man. So he said, look, you want to be a referee? I'm going to connect you with a couple state people. We'll get you a license. You were involved in athletics. In those days, people wanted to be a boxing referee. They did not want to be a wrestling referee. So they didn't have and Vince used a lot of guys got licensed, like Dick Kroll, that was the dean of the refs for him. So I get an application in the mail. I call the office. They send me an application because I had political connections. I sent in a $50 check, non-refundable, they told me, and they sent me a license. So now I'm licensed to referee. They never let me work. So I said, this isn't going to work. So I went down and I said, I'd like to work. Oh, we'll call you shortly. And it never called me. He thought shortly was different than I thought it was, evidently. 3 months went by. So I went back and started yelling at him. And the boss comes out, the chairman of the commission, John Prendeville. He says, what's going on out here? And I told him what happened. He said, I'll give you a shot, because he knew I knew people that had put him in office. So I'll give you a shot. So a week or two later, I get a call. The county center was about 20 minutes from my house in White Plains. And Arnie Skolin ran a show. And I know Arnie because I used to talk with him at the luncheonette. I'd see him at the luncheonette for breakfast before I even started working. So I get a call. You're going to work the county center in front of 5,000 people, WWF show. And I said, great. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. I don't know too much about refereeing. I've never been in a ring. I don't know which ropes to climb through. So I watched for the next 2 weeks 50 VHS tapes of wrestling and honed in on a referee. So the night of the show comes, and here I am in front of, I said, Jesus, if they don't like me, maybe they'll throw me out of the ring. I said, these guys are pretty tough guys. So Arnold Skolin saw me with my little bag. He says, you going on vacation? I said, no, I'm one of your referees. He goes, well, it's getting late. You better go up and talk to Rods. So my first match was Johnny Rods against 21-year-old Eddie Gilbert. So I go up the stairs and I'm going, what do I talk to Rods about? The weather? How's your family? Is wrestling fake? You know,
Right.
I had no idea it was kayfabe. I said, maybe part of it's real, part of it's fake. So I get up there and I walk in, and Johnny goes, "First show, huh?" I go, "How'd you know?" He goes, "I know." I sat down. He was the greatest person I could have ever had for a first show. He made me an integral part. He called it our match, which put me at ease.
Right.
And then he said, Dave, I'm going to make you a part of the show. I'm going to make you a part of this. At the end of the match, you're going to disqualify me, but you're going to push me out of the corner, and I'm going to push you aside 2 or 3 times. And finally, I'm going to push you really hard, and you ring the bell like you never rang it before. And then we start arguing, and then you tell the state officials, if this man keeps touching me, you're going to fine him $1,000. Rod, you're going to be fined $1,000 by the commission. So he left. Now the people popped for me because they liked that I wasn't taking any crap. Because Johnny said, "You got to be the sheriff. You don't favor the face or the heel. You keep the rules." So I made it through the first match, and then I said, "Well, they'll probably never call me again." But as luck would have it, the new state athletic commissioner was John Branca, Ralph Branca's brother from the old Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew friends of his. So we went out to lunch. And he said, "Dave, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a shot. And if you can work, great. If you can't work, you're not going to work again." I said, "All I want is a shot." He looked at me working. It actually turned out to be pretty funny. He got a kick out of it. He was at the show ringside. And Rene Goulet and I are in a ring. And I think Rene was fighting against another young kid, Kurt Hennig. And this guy was drunk and tried to climb in the ring. So he's up on a ring apron. Rene says, "You hit him with the forearm, I'll hit him with the foot." Well, we hit him together, and he flipped over and fell in front of the commissioner, fell off the table. And everybody in the arena thought, including the commissioner, that this was part of the show.
Right, yeah.
Part of the show. And after the show, he said, "Dave, you work very well." He goes, "You're going to get assignments." And that was it. And there it was, 32 years, 350 named wrestlers, 45 champions.